I want to be in the dark, Daddy. I want to be a skeleton. Turn off the light, says my toddler. When she hears I'm coming to read her bedtime story, she hides from me under a towel with her mother, and they make silly ghost sounds and giggle as I pretend to be scared and look for them. Then she pulls off the towel and yells, "Surprise!" through her tiny, toothy grin. In 1871, Charles Darwin published the third of his books on evolutionary theory, The Expression of Emotions in Man and Animals. In a way, we could say this was, unintentionally, a seminal book in what would later become somatic psychology, in that prior to Darwin's observations, Western thinkers had puzzled over where to locate human emotional life vis-a-vis the ever-present mind-body problem. The wisdom of the day mused that surely emotions were the domain of an immaterial mind or soul. It's like Darwin yelled back at them, "It's biology, stupid." As obvious as it might sound now, the groundbreaking nature of Darwin's heretical uncovering of humanity's intimate and complete embeddedness in the natural world also opened the door to his revolutionary ideas about human emotional architecture as riding on the foundation of the instincts we share with our animal cousins. All of this to say that, like all the other emotions, fear is in our very DNA. It's built into the most ancient layers of what we are, and fear ain't going nowhere. Our patron saint, Joseph Campbell, rather famously said that in mythic storytelling, the cave you fear to enter is the one that holds the treasure you seek. In a way, I think Joe would agree with Ernest Becker, whose central idea is that all of human culture is a way of trying to manage our fear of death. As the storytelling ape developed the capacity to imagine the future, remember the past, and put ourselves in the place of others, we have made the calculation and looked into the abyss of the certainty of our own demise, and then built countless altars, fingered an infinity of beads, and whispered innumerable prayers to try to convince ourselves that surely, this time, we can avoid it. As a young outsider from another culture, still at that time less than 10 years in the country when it happened, I witnessed 9/11 as a catastrophic rupture in a cocksure American certainty that surely this is not a place where anything like that can happen. Later, my South African ears would hear Cornel West, in his inimitable way, refers to the attack as the N-word-izing of white America, the N-word-izing of white America. So a new quality of fear emerges out of the ashes of a realization that indeed you too can be treated like that. I wonder sometimes if to those preoccupied with the conspiracy theories around 9/11 ever since, the awful claim that government officials were involved in a convoluted plot to perpetuate this heinous inside job seems less terrifying than the idea that a group of jihadis in a cave could plan and succeed in pulling off this grotesque spectacle that brought America to its knees. So too, for our Q-pilled lightworkers, perhaps make-believe 5G-powered vaccine-dispensing, reptilian, alien-serving vampire pedos are less scary than facing the grim and unglamorous reality of our vulnerability to a pandemic in an imperfect world with truths simply none of us, not even as Americans, is exceptional enough to avoid. My daughter is 2.5. Amongst everything that fascinates her exponentially exploding synaptical multiplication right now, including Legos, Dora the Explorer, construction equipment, and performing self-choreographed dance numbers for us in front of the mirror, is fear. She's fascinated by fear. She's obsessed with skeletons and spiders and ghosts and spooky shadows. Of course, her favorite cartoons have had Halloween episodes, and she's already greeted trick-or-treaters as an 18-month-old from a little table in our front yard, sitting with her nanny in a cute, simple tiger costume. But it is fascinating to watch her experiment with being afraid and saying with a scrunched up face that she doesn't like scary skeletons, and then, as if Uncle Joseph has whispered in her ear that the demon is only a god who has not been honored yet, a smile crosses her little features and she switches to wanting to be a skeleton and thinking they are friendly and after all, they just need hugs. She's becoming aware of her own mind. I think of it as an interior mansion with a large room containing fear, but that has a connecting passageway into joy and a nearby skylight that is a portal into the wonder of the twinkling stars, the brightest of which are only visible from inside the deepest darkness. It's perfectly natural. As her father, I want her to explore fear safely and learn its value, its true purpose, as well as where it is merely a substanceless specter sustained only by the electricity of the troubled imagination. And as she keeps our family plugged into joy and wonder and unbounded love during this ominous time, I'm reminded that perhaps sanity, or at the very least that sacred thing we call reason, lies in knowing what to be afraid of and when to enter the dark and scary cave that holds the very treasure all of us seek, the treasure that is revealed to me most clearly in her shining eyes.